Oh, you legend! I managed to get under 10% body fat in my cut, losing over 10 kilos in 16 weeks, gone from this piggy to this shredded sick. I can't swear in the first couple minutes, sorry. No matter what anyone tells you, getting this lean is not fun and it's sure not easy. So I want to warn you on what can go wrong and how to set yourself up to get trucking shredded and look better than all your mates. You've seen it before where you or guys you know have just replicated the diet of an autistic tortoise, eating way too little and just losing all of your strength. And look, not everyone can get under 10% body fat. So if you even do one of these upcoming things wrong, you've got a pretty good chance of losing muscle in the process. So I'm gonna show you how to make that not happen. I'm also a coach myself and I've worked with a number of clients to also get extremely lean. So don't worry, I'm not one of those guys who smashes gear, gets shredded once, and then tells you to eat his Biscoff cheesecake recipes. First off, I'm going to tell you exactly what my diet looked like because we all know without nutrition, nothing else actually matters.
Let's get it.
How about that for an absolute belter cream of rice? What a view, mate. Now, when I started with my coach and hence started the cut, calories were at 3,000. Now, at the end of my bulk, they were at roughly 3,500. So we went down by about 500 calories to put me just under maintenance. Now, what happened here was body weight stayed pretty stable, but in the visuals, you could see that things were clearly shifting. So it was almost a little bit of a body recomp, and this will often happen as we shift into the cut and digestion actually improves because we sort of restructure our nutrition. We're not putting as much stress on the digestive system. So we see more muscle growth come through in this initial period. Now, over time, body weight started to drop nicely and calories did drop down as we went to keep this rate of loss exactly where we wanted it at around about 0.4 to 0.8 kilos per week. As we do get leaner, that rate of loss is going to slow down. If you're constantly shooting for a kilo per week as you're getting close to 10% body fat, you're a fucking idiot. And you're going to feel like a fucking idiot as well. It is not going to be an enjoyable time. So over time, calories did drop down. The lowest that they did get to was 2,000. Now, don't base your calorie amount off of mine. We are completely different human beings, and your calorie adjustments need to be based off what your physique is doing, how it is changing. And as always, that is why I work with a coach, so I don't need to think about this stuff, as we're always going to be attached emotionally to our physique. We might look in the mirror one day, think, oh, we're looking a bit fat today, so it's time to drop calories. But having a coach, I don't need to think about it. Those changes come when those changes are needed. Hence, we are able to get leaner while retaining more muscle mass. Speaking of muscle mass, protein did stay around about 200 grams throughout the entire cut. Does it need to be this high in terms of muscle maintenance? Probably not, but protein and an increased protein intake can also help drastically with satiety and feeling full from all of our meals. And the higher the protein intake, the higher amount of calories burned from digesting that food. Protein takes more energy to digest than all other macronutrients. So why not have protein a little bit higher? In terms of fat, this dropped to 40 grams, but we didn't go any lower than that. If you go under 40 grams for a significant amount of time, above just a couple of weeks, this can be quite damaging to your hormones, and you are trying to do everything possible to protect hormone production in the cut when it's naturally going to be negatively affected because of this deficit that we're putting the body in for a sustained amount of time. And if you're playing macro Tetris every single day trying to make this work, as you can see, it's going to be a little bit of a head fuck. So when we are trying to get very, very lean, meal plans and a set nutrition intake every day are always going to remain king. Not only for the mental aspect, you don't need to be thinking about playing macro Tetris, fitting in how many grams of rice I can get in with this final meal. You don't have to worry about that. And your body knows exactly what is coming in on a daily basis. If you're eating meals at a similar time every single day, hunger is going to be drastically lower than if this is completely random from day to day. Nothing is better than cream of rice. Nothing. However, this cut went for roughly 16 weeks. So in those 16 weeks, there was of course social events that did pop up. Can this plane shut the fuck up? There was of course social events that did pop up. They're going to be unavoidable. But this is exactly what we are going to get into next, because they can be pretty easily managed if we go about them in the right way. Hey, back in the office, as you can see. Now, in this cut, I had a free meal every single week. And I used to really struggle with these, like pure anxiety before going out for a meal, even just trying to avoid them at all costs, or when I would have one, binging the house down and pretty much fucking my physique for a week or so and just delaying the cut, drawing it out way longer than it needed to be. And look, these are going to come up. Social events are going to be there, and you should want to and you should be able to go out for dinners every week, every couple of weeks throughout the cut. These come up no matter what, and I'm guessing that you might struggle with these as well. You might try to completely avoid them, but how do we think that's going to go? Not ideal, more times than not. But trust me, these meals out do not have to be so much of a head fuck. I've condensed everything I've learned, everything I use myself, and everything I tell my clients in order for them to have these weekly free meals into a free guide that you can literally use before going out for one of these meals. It makes it extremely simple, and you'll be kicking yourself that you haven't used this approach sooner. So if you're a normal human being and like my past self and do really struggle with these meals out, you can go into the description. Same again, it's completely free. Chuck in your email, that'll be sent straight over to you. And these feeds will no longer be a problem. We can get shredded a whole lot easier. But it is about time that we go and fucking train. So I am actually going to run you through how training looked throughout the cut and how I was able to preserve all of this muscle tissue while getting below sub 10% body fat. Cheers, adlays and adlets, for my female clients watching. And we are moving on to training, in which, to a lot of people's surprise, I did not lose an ounce of strength throughout the entire cut. I was able to maintain all of my lifts and actually progress a fair way into the deficit. Obviously, towards the end, as we were dipping below 10% body fat, there was not many progressions going on. Yes, I did drop a rep here and there, but if I did drop a rep on a particular exercise, I would go and likely get that rep back the following workout. I wasn't consistently dropping strength like a lot of guys will, and it is a very slippery slope where I actually see it a lot with clients coming to me because they've tried to cut in the past and they've gone down that slippery slope. They've had one workout where they've lost strength, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 they have to start using, the dumbbells that are 10 kilos lighter, and it fucking sucks. There's no denying that. I nearly just got crashed into. That's why you just got flipped over. But the reason that I was able to maintain all of my strength while getting this lean, while a lot of guys in regular cuts will lose a lot of strength, is because everything was tracked. Every variable, every number, and more specifically, in those training sessions, doing the exact same exercises week in, week out, with the same settings on each machine, and knowing what numbers that I had to hit for that specific workout. Furthermore, refeeds came in when necessary. If we did have a couple of those workouts where 1 or 2 reps dropped on multiple exercises and we could clearly see that fatigue was creeping up, we would throw in a refeed, and that way we were able to take these refeeds at the right time, which then meant extra carbs came in, that training performance came up, and strength was still maintained no matter how lean we did get. Sorry about all the hand gestures. I seem to think I'm fucking your Italian grandpa. Fucking dumb cunt. Sorry, I get a bit fired up after that first sip of caffeine. In saying this, with strength holding so well, there were some fucking challenges, let me tell you. So keep watching, as I'm going to tell you exactly what fucked me and how to best avoid this for yourself. What do we reckon about the office setup? Not too shabby at all, is it? I hope you can hear me okay, because we need to talk about supplementation. And throughout this entire cut, we just kept it simple. Not abusing anything in particular, besides some slight caffeination abuse. But that wasn't anything major. My usual caffeine intake is around about 300 milligrams per day. One double shot long black and potentially another one, or an energy drink if I'm feeling a little bit flamboyant. But my intake came up to around about 450 or 500 milligrams per day. I would replace that energy drink or extra coffee with pre-workout. So that would be 300 milligrams instead of 150, just because obviously that energy going into your sessions isn't going to be as prominent. With supplements as a whole, I just had your basic health supplements in, as well as melatonin. So what I take year round: fish oil, ashwagandha, vitamin D3, K2, and that's pretty much it. Melatonin, 10 milligrams at nighttime with some magnesium glycinate as well. And I really benefit from melatonin. When you do get extremely lean, cortisol can come up, so sleep can take a little bit of a hit. So bringing in that melatonin can just ensure that we don't have that anxiety about going to sleep and are always struggling to first get to sleep, but then stay asleep as well. You don't need anything fancy to get shredded. There is a lot of money grabs online, but realistically, you don't need anything more than your health supplements. And as an example of this, I have a client who's also now sub 10% body fat. Shout out Noah if you're watching this. And we haven't utilized any sort of fat burners. We've just been rolling with those same health supps as well. And as you can see, I mean, the visuals and the results show for themselves. And if you are extra intrigued on the supplement side of things, then lucky for you, I've actually just posted a few videos on my Instagram running through exactly what I take and why I take it. So go follow me there if you haven't already, buddy. But as you know, getting sub 10% is not all rainbows and lollipops. So let's discuss. Now, as much as we can say that getting shredded is absolute rainbows and lollipops, it's not the truth. Throughout this cut, I had many perils, many trials and tribulations, and especially towards the back end, those last 4 weeks, I felt fucked. There's this one time that I remember going to the shops, going to Woolies, getting my kangaroo, getting my veg, and all of that good stuff. And I genuinely couldn't make it to the freezer aisle. I needed some frozen motherfucking blueberries, but it felt like they were an eternity away. It was like I had 1 HP and just could not get over there. I literally left my basket on the fucking ground and had to walk over, trudging my feet just to get those blueberries, and it felt like I was on the brink of extinction. There was many other times just like this one. So these things are going to happen if you are going to get this lean. But to make sure that these negative effects do not come sooner than you'd like, here's exactly what you need to do. You're gonna need to make sure hydration is on point, getting at least 4 liters a day if you are a male. It's a lot and you're gonna be pissing a damn lot, but we need to make sure that hydration is spot on. Same goes for sleep. You can't be getting under 7 hours consistently. 8 to even 9 hours per night is where we do want to be maximizing recovery when we're not going to have much recovery ability from the food coming in. And finally, you got to stay busy. The kryptonite to getting shredded is getting bored. It is just not conducive to those shreds, and it's going to drive food focus and hunger up a goddamn wall. So one sort of technique that I like to use myself is every single time a food video pops up on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, you don't only swipe off that fucker straight away, you click not interested so that these videos do not keep on coming up. It is such an easy rabbit hole to get stuck down, and it's pretty inescapable as well. So I don't care what you do, take up a damn hobby, take up pottery for all I care, but keep yourself busy on the cut. How about that for a cheeky sunset? And look, I would be lying if I said that getting this lean wasn't fun as fuck. Waking up every day knowing that you might see some new shreds in the mirror is, well, there's no words to describe it. You have to experience it for yourself. It is mint. Well, I guess I've just described it with a word. It is beyond mint, let me tell you that. Now, you will see I am obviously a little bit more of a fucking fatty at the moment. So I'm now in the build. I'm 12 kilos up from peak shreds in roughly 30 or so weeks. And yeah, we've been stacking on the size. Sorry, someone was walking past, and as always, I'm an awkward cunt. So I had to go into hibernation. But I've now got around a month for the rest of this bulk, and then we take these shreds to the next level. So we got more muscle mass on the frame, and we're going to get as lean or potentially leaner than we were in this previous cut. So if you do want to follow along, go down, click subscribe, and I will be shooting at you weekly updates of the build for this next month, and then chipping into the shreds, mate. And if you do want to see a little bit more of how I have been building muscle in this build, go suss out that video that is popping up now. And I have one more thing to say to you. You're a legend. See you later.